It's the end of season 3. We had a lot of cliffhangers. Leslie is approached by this group of people who recommend that she runs for office, and they're starting to kind of see if she's interested. And what that means is if she does decide to run for office, everything has to kind of come out in the open. And one of her secrets is that she's sleeping with her boss, Ben Wyatt, played by Adam Scott. So we have to find out if she's going to run, what she's going to do if she does. Will they stay together? Will they break up? Will the scandal happen? Will there be a scandal? So all those big, juicy things are kind of left hanging in season 3. We also have big cliffhangers. Tom Haverford quits and tries to start his new group, Entertainment 720, which is a money pit with a nebulous job description. And then Andy and April we leave them still in love, with Andy kind of trying to do a little bit more, be a little bit more successful this year. And there's a lot of really fun stuff this season about what Andy and April do to kind of prop him up. And lastly, we ended season 3 with Tammy 1 showing up, Ron's nefarious first ex-wife, the scariest of all. Season 4 is going to be one of those seasons that if you're a fan of the show, I think you will be so pleased at what happens. A lot happens. And also, I think if it's your first time watching the show, you'll really understand what the Parks Department is about. And season 4 is kind of based around this idea about whether or not Leslie's going to run for office. And if she does, what does that mean? And so if there is a campaign, it will happen in the season 4 season, and it will be a really juicy structure for us to play around with. Because we do such small-town, low-level politics here, unlike a big presidential campaign, this is a campaign for city council, which is a much different animal. So it will be a lot of characters having to make a lot of big choices. And what's really great about Parks is that the characters kind of keep moving forward. It's not like every season we reset back to the same thing, and every show everybody goes back to their house and nobody's changed. The show keeps changing. People have to make big jumps and big leaps, so I don't know what's going to happen. The writers of our show did an amazing job of making a real book that Leslie wrote. I can proudly say I did not write one word of it, but Leslie wrote all of it. And it is a compendium of facts and pictures and stories and character descriptions, and it describes Pawnee and what makes it so great through Leslie's eyes. It's really funny and very specific, and it's just one of those books that keeps kind of, there's a lot of really funny layers to it, keeps kind of giving over and over again when you read it. It's just a book about the fictional crazies that live in this fictional crazy town. It's been really satisfying this last season. Leslie's kind of on a bit of a hot streak, and we don't know if that's going to last or not. And it's that great thing where you start to get things that you've always wanted, and you have to figure out if that's going to make you happy. So she's always wanted to run for public office, and if given the chance, will that make her happy? Or will she succeed? Will she run? Will she win? So there's going to be a lot of that. And just really fun ways to explore super small-time, low-impact politics. It's like the opposite of the West Wing. I think the success of the show is dependent on the writing. And I think our scripts are always so well-written and tight and funny and layered. And I've always said what I like about the show is that it isn't... It's not afraid to get real and kind of sweet and have real moments and a little oxygen in between funny moments. We get to swing really big on the show, and then we get to have really small, subtle moments. I think the characters are really interesting and funny and crazy, but you kind of feel like you know them. The writers try to keep them consistent and interesting and specific. But I think at the end of the day, the reason why maybe people are responding to the show is because they just have started to like the characters. They've started to care about them and care what happens to them. And I have a lot of people, and it's really cool, who come up and ask me what's going to happen to Leslie. They care about what's going to happen to her. And so do I. But the writers do too. And that's not always the case in every show. And so the care I think that the writers take in making episodes that I don't know, that mean something in their own way is, maybe that's why it's resonating for people. And there's a lot of people from small towns. Not everybody lives in Hollywood and New York City. The rest of the United States live in towns that are very much like Pawnee. They have the same kind of issues, and they work with the same bunch of weirdos. And everybody can relate to working with people that you have nothing in common with. I love our cast. I think it's the best cast on TV. The most talented, funny, interesting, and smartest group of people. Well, maybe not the smartest group. There's people that are probably smarter, like, everyone that's at MIT is smarter than our cast. But for television, it's very smart.